A narcissistic man who is into women punishes his mother through punishing his wife. What does that mean? That simply means he has a mother wound and takes that hatred out on his partner for no fault of hers. And she goes through the pain he always wanted to and still deeply wants to inflict on his crazy, destructive mom. I am Danish, a psychologist and a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. In today's episode, we are going to talk about how a narcissistic man punishes his mother through punishing you. If that sounds interesting, please consider subscribing because your subscription helps in spreading awareness about narcissistic abuse. Let's get started. If there is anything common among all narcissistic men, it is a domineering mother, a controlling narcissistic mother with whom they can be enmeshed or they can hate her. There is a mother wound that she has inflicted but doesn't want to take any responsibility for. She treats her son as her husband, as a replacement for partner, and creates a trauma bond in which this son has to maintain the status quo. He has to treat her like the wife if he is enmeshed, and he has to give her everything that he withholds from you. She becomes you. I would say you become the secondary wife and she takes your role. This is the case for enmeshment. But in this case, what happens is deep at a secretive level, at a subconscious level, this narcissistic man feels emasculated, has been emasculated and turned into a puppy, a toy for the mother who wants to use him for the show, take him everywhere, take him to parties, to garner fuel and supply. And that makes this man hate her deeply, hate her guts. He may or may not express it. He may or may not take it out on her directly, but he hates her. And she becomes his bad object. What does that mean? Well, there is something called object relations theory. It's how your parent or primary caretaker treats you. You assume how valuable you are as a child. And this is an unconscious process. Let me give you an example. If your primary caretaker, which in most of the cases is your mom, attends to your needs, takes care of you, is there, is basically normal and healthy to you, what you deeply and subconsciously conclude is, she is feeding me. I must be a good human being and she must be good as well. But that is not the case with this narcissistic man. His mother became the bad object. She's a bad mom. And he also believes he's totally rotten because that's what the message was sent. However, that awareness is suppressed. That's why the narcissistic false self was created to stay distracted from the reality. So they hate the mother because of who she is. But as I said, since they can't take it out on her, they take it out on you through a mechanism called transference. Transference usually happens between a client and a therapist. It's how you felt towards the primary cause of your pain, the primary abuser. You feel the same way towards the person who has some similarity, something in common with that person. As in case of a therapist, let's say they have the authority. They're the one in charge. That's why transference may happen. In this case, you are a female and they are developmentally stuck. They look like an adult but aren't one. They live in an adult body but behave like children. So that is what creates this transference, and they hate you. They treat you like they always wanted to treat her but were emasculated. Since they had no control there, they couldn't do it. But now with you, they have all the control. You love them. You are deeply connected with them, and that's what they take advantage of. That's how they punish you. And the crazy thing is sometimes they can even call you mommy. I have witnessed so many cases, like people have told me, different people from diverse backgrounds have told me, you know what, my narcissistic husband used to call me mommy. And that would shock me. I mean, I didn't know what to do with that. I thought it was cute. But that is basically a confession of their immaturity of how they developmentally have been destroyed and how they see you unconsciously as a representation of their mother figure. Also, a lot of women have told me or have felt like they were taking care of another child. They never felt they were in a relationship with a man, a person they could call their husband, someone they could depend on, because they had to take care of everything. They literally felt that they were raising a man, a child man, somebody who had the capabilities but always depended on her. Have you felt that way? If yes, drop your experiences in the comments below. For these reasons, a narcissistic man can also be called a man child. They look like a man but aren't one, essentially. They do not have true capability to acknowledge their masculinity and at the same time integrate their feminine side as well. So this is how they punish you. But what happens in the process of punishing you is they end up betraying you. In the beginning of this entire relationship, you thought you were choosing a man for yourself. You were choosing somebody who would, let's say, have the skills of leadership, who would guide you, who would contribute, who would do all the things. You had valid expectations, but this person turned out to be the opposite and ended up punishing you for a sin that you never committed, for a sin that you never made. And that is the betrayal. That is what leaves you with a moral wound. Why? Why did I receive the pain? Why did you take it out on me when I gave you nothing but love? And that is what leads to a lot of shock, ultimately complex, complicated grief. If that is what you're struggling with, you may want to attend my upcoming workshop happening next month, first week, July 7th, and then July 14th. It only happens twice a year in this workshop. I'll be talking about how to overcome betrayal trauma caused by the narcissist. If you want to book your spot, click the I button above or the link in the description of this episode. So what can we essentially conclude from what I have shared with you? That hatred that's projected on you is not because you lack something. It's not because of all the flaws they say you have. The truth is they are attacking you because they see you as somebody that you're not. They feel things towards you that you did not create. So it's basically somebody else's pain, somebody else's torture they are taking out on you. Why am I saying that? Because I want you to truly know, truly embody the fact that it's not your fault at all and it's not your responsibility to parent them, to raise them. Just because they didn't have a mother does not mean you can fulfill that need. It's impossible. They will destroy you. They try to individuate through you, like turn into an adult, but they fail because their narcissism comes in the way, and that's going to be the case until forever. What is the solution then? The solution is just leave them. There's nothing that can be done. They're already destroyed. They're already dead, in my opinion, and you have to move on. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.